I just do them early because they're bullshit. Almost at 100 hours of total playtime. A false statistic, because I've put more than 100 hours into this game. Routing offline, as well as, I mean, in terms of how many hours I did strictly doing speedruns, that's accurate. Because I started using that live split extension when I ran Stadium 1. I mean, that's a lot of time to sink into this game. 4 completed runs. 3 of them were PBs. The last completed run I did was a 2:14.10, which nowadays would be 4th place. But I've only completed 3 runs in this game that were PB, and only 3 of them were deathless. And my first PB in this game was not deathless. It actually had a death to who died to? I think it died to Blaine or Sabrina, one of those two. Kind of wish more people would run this game too. I mean, Werster's been giving it a good bit of new attention. I mean, a lot of those new strats are very runner friendly. Like, the odds of finishing a run used to be a disastrous, like, low chance. And then it's like, well, this fight isn't so bad now. And then it's like, you do this fight earlier, so in case it does go wrong, you can just restart. Lots of good things about this game in the past month and a half. It's a pretty brutal speedrun, but it's very fun. Very easy to learn. Like, you'd have to have a serious problem if you couldn't learn this speedrun. It's literally look at the notes, go fast. And a quick claw, because why not? I'm already losing time. Maybe I'll lose a little bit more time. It's not an issue. I don't really care too much about losing time in the first fight or the second fight, because my Erica split I can save a minute on. Oh boy. Half the equation. There's the other half. Anytime Onyx leads you don't really know what it's going to do because who it has in the back depends on what's going to happen. If it has no safe switch-ins, it's just going to Earthquake. Any other Pokemon that leads, without it attacking, you can tell if you win this fight or not, because if he leads Pinsir, Fortress, it's a guaranteed loss. If he leads Onix, it's 50-50 because you don't know what's in the back. So if it has something in the back that counters Venusaur, like Pinsir, Bug type, or Fortress, Bug Steel, it's going to switch it into it automatically. And if it leads with Kabutops, Golem, Almastor, it's a guaranteed victory because with the way this manip works, you'll never see Kabutops, Almastor, or Golem ever lead and switch out. Like, they cannot lead. They cannot switch out. So, knowing that little bit of information, like, if you ever started running this game, you'd be like, well, you'd be just questioning yourself, do I win this fight? Where instead it's like, well, now that I told you, if you ever get to that situation, you don't even have to think. You can just say, well, I won the fight. There's no worry about having to worry about switching. You can just like relax and start mentally preparing for more of the route. I mean, this game is nothing but worry. It's like every single fight, there's scenarios that goes, like every single fight here has scenarios that go through my mind that's like, well, so-and-so can happen. This one in particular is very interesting. That's more notes I gotta put. Is that Jumpy Love? Is that how you spell it? I have not had this lead before. So I'm actually unsure if this is a win or not. Like, I have absolutely no clue what the back is in this scenario. It's probably Blossom still, because Blossom's a consistent Pokemon that seems to be picked with this team comp. And if it's Chansey, then, I mean, Werster did say Chansey can only lead. Now, one of the good things about this scenario here is that little extra power that, like, Wheezing was superseded by Coughing because its explosion did more than Wheezing self-destruct. And then Pineco supersedes Coughing for Vaporeon because it's an even more generous range to use Pineco with this, which actually I don't even know the percentage because this is the first time I've ever seen it. But it was actually very high with Coughing. It was like, I think 70-some%. So that extra 2 attack probably jumped it up to like 80 or 90. Which, even if it's not a kill, it still puts Vaporeon at kill range with Ice Splash. So it's one of those useless statistics that, as a viewer, you probably won't care too much. But as a runner, that was a crit focus ban. That is bullshit. Absolute fucking trash. 3 lines of text. Do you see that? Super effective critical focus ban. I've never seen 3 text boxes, like 3 lines of text in any fight before. That is incredible. Doesn't matter though, because it's still a 2-hit standard. So the time loss from this fight, which, like I said, I could save a minute, is strictly because the AI didn't lead Tangela. So you had to watch a lot more explosion animation. So that 1 minute time save went to about 25. And that wasn't a bad fight. Like, that kind of Erica is pretty good. Like with Pineco lead, that is a very good team to go against. Jumpy left Venusaur as well. Like those two are the best leads with the old strats. With the new strats, you want to see Tangela lead, which Tangela lead happens so frequently. It's not much to care about. It just happens a lot, and you can get away from scope lens, which scope lens crit happens because it's twice as likely. Plus, you don't have to worry about animations. Ice Punch is ridiculously fast compared to blowing up and watching two Pokemon die, and it's a long animation. This whole game's an animation war. Like, you don't if you came up with a strat that saved a second, I'd be like, well, what's it required? And if it required anything remotely complicated to do, it's not worth it. But if the strat is well, this Pokemon works out better, there's no downside, faster animation, it's well, hell yeah, it's free time save. Like any other game, any other game series, a second would probably mean something, but in Pokemon Stadium, you lose time every single turn. Every single time the AI has to pick a Pokemon, every time the AI has to pick a move, anytime the AI has to make a team comp decision, when it's checking Pokemon to throw in, any single thing in this game that requires a turn, that you can lose frames. You can lose seconds because I've seen them take forever. So thinking about like splits, if you're within 3 seconds, you can have the same fight and still vary by several seconds, 3 to 5 seconds, just because maybe the AI took their time with selecting a move, and it's not worth really getting worked up over. I mean, hell, even 30 seconds is not worth getting worked up over. Also, this could be another good Sabrina. Let's say you get in a fight and you have to do 3 extra turns just because you got a shitty combination. Big whoop, you lost 30 to 40 seconds. Shit happens. This is a 2-hour speed run. You're not going to finish the entire run without something going wrong. And as long as you get yourself in that mindset, the odds of you finishing a run and maybe improving your knowledge of the run as well, is just going to keep going up. The best thing you could have for this game is route understanding. It doesn't matter how good the record is. It doesn't matter how good you think your PB is or how good your strats are. If you understand the route, why it works, and how to improve it, you'll overcome anything. This game doesn't require high APM. Right there, I lost 3 seconds. And that was a near optimal Sabrina. It's not worth caring about. Shit happens. Maybe the thing that was different maybe in my my other run was maybe I got a psychic. Maybe I got a psychic. Slowbro used Surf here. Surf's a longer animation. Lots of... No, that's kind of why this is a unique speedrun to me. Because every game, when I started speedrunning, I speedrun games where the entire onus was put on the player about how well they did. Very little RNG existed in War Plus Yoshi's Island when I started. It was very little. One boss fight, you didn't get any bonus rings because you skipped them all. I mean, it was a very, very relaxing, cool speedrun. But then I'm coming to this game where I'm making the best decisions I know is optimal, and the game is still screwing. Because it's not up to you whether you get your time. Like, you can only control so many aspects of a game. What kind of AI you get, what kind of damage ranges you get, how long the AI takes to select a move or select teams. Like, everything is out of your control as a player. But that doesn't make the run any less technical. It actually makes this run a lot deeper than I think a lot of people give it credit for. Like in Stadium 1, it's always like a running joke. You can always call it Hit Thunder the Game or Miss Thunder the Game, because the entire strategy for that game, for the most part, is hit thunders in like the majority of the gyms. In Stadium 2, that doesn't exist because we only use thunder as a must-win scenario. Like, there's no other strategy that works for Falkland. Every other gym, there's always a possibility that you may need to use thunder. It's like it's a situational thing. So, like, this game has a lot more strategy and I'd say route awareness or whatever you call it. Like, you have to really be on your game running this. And this game has improvement. Like, the route for Stadium 1, I'm actually convinced, like, I've actually changed a little bit of the route, but for the most part, there is nothing we can do with the Stadium 1 route. The rentals that have access to Thunder are way too valuable to give up. Like, there's way too many things that are in the current route we just cannot change out. So the current route for Stadium 1 is set in stone. It'll probably be the same for the next 10 years because you're still going to lead Giovanni. You're still going to hit Thunders. You're still going to explode on a few fights. Unless there's some deep AI manipulation that gets discovered in that game that is guaranteed to work and not so-and-so supposed to work, then the route that we have right now is ideal. And I've tried so hard to change it. Gyarados lead. This is the third straight time I have had Gyarados lead. It's actually not a bad lead. I actually prefer Gyarados lead with a ride-on and back, no Executor. Ride-on with no Executor Gyarados is a really good team for me, even though the optimal team requires you to break through a Quick Claw twice. So here, the only thing I can do is hope he doesn't switch out, because there is a chance he won't switch out and use Earthquake, because it depends on who the back is. Okay, so that means the back is Executor. This is probably the one instance where Executor having Quick Claw doesn't really kill the run. But if he leaves without Kazam, then you do have a chance of Quick Claw ending your run. In this scenario, it's not that Quick Claw can end the run. It just has a possibility based on the range I get here. Like, for one, this needs to not crit. For two, this Drill Peck needs to be a very high range. And for three, the next turn has to be a very good range pursuit. Oh, or you can just crit. Like, those three combinations completely take away Quick Claw's effectiveness in this run, or in this particular combination. That crit there is major, because I needed that badly. Otherwise, I would have wasted 2 turns. The first turn using Pursuit, the second turn swapping into well, actually just 1 turn because of Pursuit. But now Rhydon has no switching. It's going to use rollout. It needs to hit. It has focus band as well, so yeah. Okay, no focus band. And now for the ending, there's several ways you can do this one. I have this mindset, and it's probably a mindset that a lot of players would probably share. Well, for one, I am not hitting Zap Cannon against this fucker if I can avoid it. 2, I have Thunder on Voltorb, that's an OCO. It's 70% accurate, and I get 2 to 3 shots to hit it. I'm pretty sure I got 3 shots to hit it, but regardless. The least amount of turns I can hit a guaranteed Thunder is 2. And because of that, I'm just going to straight up Rain Dance. I was going to not do it, but I am not letting this fight be put in the hands of Zap Cannon, which I probably screwed up here. Yeah, that was all me. I shouldn't have done that with the crit. I just realized my mistake. That is trash, but at least in this scenario, if I hit with Zap Cannon, the Rain Boost assist should probably KO. That's embarrassing. To give, like, this wasn't that bad of a team. Like, I was probably going to save, like, 50 seconds here. I mean, of course, the ideal team, I'd save more, but, fucking flail. I can be over a minute ahead after blue. I should reset, but it's not like I can't make this time up. That's just a really stupid ass thing to happen that I'm embarrassed to have happen in a run. Like, I should know to not do Rain Dance in that situation, but I did anyways. But you learn from your mistakes. Like, that's the one thing I'm going to say about that happening is I am glad it happened. Like, you would think, wow, I'm losing over a minute because of a simple mistake. But, the fact that it happened means next time it won't happen. So, like I was saying earlier, it's really shit it happened, but I'm glad it happened. Because now next time it happens, like next time I'm in that situation, instead of getting KO'd on that turn with that surf, I now have 2 turns in which I can hit a Thunder to KO. Also, what a joke. Actually, no. An Electro crit could end up in my favor if the back is no. This is actually good. This is probably the only time in this entire speedrun where, well, okay, there's a couple instances, but there's very few instances where the AI critting is actually beneficial to me. That one right there was very beneficial. So, Surge's team is, generally speaking, Electrode, it's kind of the it doesn't happen all the time, but Raichu and Electabuzz. Those two are Raichu's guaranteed, but Electabuzz is a very common Pokemon for him to use. And in order to, you can't win this fight with a Donphan sweep. Like, that's not going to happen. Unless you crit a Porygon, you get Magneton, and then you get Raichu as well. So in this scenario, this was actually ideal. Because this very scenario here, that crit from Voltorb is going to actually save me a little bit of time. I'm still losing time because I had to switch into a Haunter to take on Lantern. But if I had to waste another turn, getting KO'd, then it could have been a little worse. But yeah, Lantern has the scope lens, and the only way you can take on Lantern, I have looked up every single number I can find, every single Earthquake user. There is not a single Earthquake user in this run that could one-hit KO Lantern except for one Pokemon. And that's Diglett with Fissure. That is the only Pokemon that can OHKO Lantern with the ground move. And that's strictly because the range, like Donphan is the strongest Earthquake stab user. It does 1 less damage than its max HP. So yeah, I am not liking this start so far. That's a minute behind, but you know what? It's not that bad, all things considered, because I lost a good bit of time in a lot of places. So I would rather be in the green. But once again, that's just how this game works. Like you're asking for too much for everything to go your way. Had that been Electabuzz and back, I probably would have been even with I would have been probably about 39 seconds still. Okay, Doug Trio. So this is the standard fight with the Sea King in the middle. This is probably Sea King and then Hitmontop, which is a bad team. But Hitmontop is like a guaranteed win in the back. Hitmonlee with crit KOs, and that's if it hits, because Mega Kick. I just need to dodge one Horn Drill. Nice. I'm not even as excited as I was earlier when I did this fight. Like, you probably can't tell, I'm just like, a lot of motivation and energy just like is sucked out of me because I was on a super hot run earlier. And then Whitney gave me the most it was the most inconceivable thing she could have ever done to me. I had an optimal pattern for her had I used the old strats. Because I had to deal with Dodrio. And then if I got past Dodrio, which it's a range for me to survive at first, if I would have survived that, then Gloom would have been KO'd in the back, and I probably would have saved time there. But that's like, that really sucks my enthusiasm and motivation out of me. Like, I've never had that happen. Like, I thought with the Heracross team that she would be more in tune of using psychic users. instead of using the flying type, even though that's like the better option. But it happens. Like in that exact scenario, I could have still won because Thunder Punch 2-hit KOs the Drio outright. I just have to survive one tri-attack, which happens. It actually happens. It's a very. It's not a terrible range, but it's like it exists. And anytime a range exists against you in order to survive, it's really ass. That fight went identical to my PB. Well, my PB had a triple kick. And my Chuck was phenomenal in my PB, so I'll be losing time here. Okay, maybe not, because that's an ideal lead. If this is Primate, Poliwrath, Machoke, then that's hot shit. Okay, that's one. That's a range, by the way. I think Primate, Hitmonchan, Machoke's a range. Primate and Machoke are the most likely ranges. Poliwrath is a guaranteed show. Showing up second though, that's very different. Usually a non-Poliwrath lead is last, and if Poliwrath can lead or it can end. I've rarely ever seen the middle pattern. And if I dodge this one, the fight's pretty much over. Oh, I got hit. It's very unfortunate that happened, because now there's a chance that that I have to. Well, there is a strong chance I have to avoid one more dynamic punch. Are you fucking kidding me? Fuck me. Okay, I don't even know what the fuck his other Pokemon use. Sandslash is what I need now. I don't know if I even get hit with anyone else. I've never looked into Chuck's patterns because you don't. He's the only one that uses Earthquake, I think. Maybe Machoke? I just want to see Sandslash because I have no clue whatsoever. Like, I have no clue if Machoke has Earthquake. Like, I've never had this happen. Okay, it does. That's good. And that's a fast animation. Okay, that was... I completely didn't even know Poliwrath had Focus Band. Like, I've never had it show up in, like, you see that counter down that says 93 hours, 45 minutes? That's the first time I've ever seen that Focus Band activate. Splits aren't looking too hot. But, like I said, it's not an issue. A lot of run left. I'm obviously not liking seeing that much red now, but there's just so much of the run left. I can bring it back. I just require a good Faulkner here, because my PB had a 3-turn Faulkner. If I can lead Faulkner within 2 minutes of my PB, I'll consider that a victory. Anything else is asking for too much. Because there's so many points in this run where I'm going to be saving time. And then there's also a lot of points where I'm going to be losing time. But trust me when I say this, that the time saved is going to outweigh the time lost tremendously from here on out. Because if I lose, like, I'm not going to lose enough time to not PB, because I'm going to lose the run if I don't PB. Unless Claire happens. If Claire happens, then, yeah, that's pretty trash. That's unlucky. I was hoping to see Spearow. Pretty much anything that doesn't have the capabilities of using Quick Attack or Indoor, I want to see in this fight. Because I can't lose this fight. Like, well, statistically speaking, you can lose the fight with Jinx. It's just... I don't even know how it would be possible. Like, who can survive an Ice Punch? Natsu has Endure. Pidgey and Pidgeotto have Quick Attack. So, that's like the only time loss that happens in this gym. Lucky I got a perfect fight. So now if I get all 3 Thunders, then I can actually tie with my split. Or even save a little bit of time. But the Faulkner split is probably the dumbest split to compete against for any runner. Because most Faulkner splits, you're either going to save a shitload of time or you're going to lose 2 minutes. Like, there's no in between. You lose too much time if you miss a single Thunder. Just because Fear outspeeds if you miss, so it gets another animation. Pidgeot will always use Quick Attack, so it gets another animation. And if you take too much damage by the time you get to the back, a miss there leads to you having to switch your Pokemon to something suboptimal, so even if you can win, you're losing a lot of time because you have to switch out. Okay, that's a good lead. From my experiences in this fight, a Pidgeot lead is ideal because most of the time a Pidgeot lead doesn't have Fearow, and that's the only other Pokemon that does something to outspeed you. Oh, here we fucking go. And it has access to Swift, which is Stab Swift. And a crit from that is like enough to kill me at this point now. And I've had it crit me a lot. Good. Togetic is another good thing to show up. I mean, it's a range, but it's good to show up because it uses Double Edge. But not now because I have too much damage. Farfetch'd and Delibird are good as well, but Delibird, if I miss, it's going to use Blizzard. Regardless, if you don't really care too much about percentages and like optimal shit, all you have to know is that in this fight, you hit Thunders, you save time. If you miss Thunders, you lose time. That's the basic strategy for this fight. And Farfetch in the back is actually good because now if I don't hit with like if I lose Zapdos for some reason, Jinx KOs it. Okay, you know what? 4th turn is actually pretty good. I did say if anything under, within 2 minutes of PB, I'd consider that a win. So the non-Endure Natsu and the non-Quick Attack Pidgey is what kept this from going over 2 minutes behind, so good. I'm still not happy with those splits, but I have too much knowledge of the route and, what's left in the run that I'm not going to let that force me to end the run, because there's no reason to end the run. Like, my time is not at the point where that time matters. Like, I can still PB. I mean, I still want to see how the price gym goes with the new strats. Like, that alone is worth continuing the run, no matter how bad it is. As well as the new well, it's not a new strat, so to say. It's like a year-old strat, but I didn't adopt it because I didn't know how good it was. Spinnerack lead is not a bad thing. I would rather prefer something I can no-code. But yeah, for this fight, For this fight in particular, the whole reason I use Graveler is it's a more consistent strat. Obviously, it's not a consistent strat if Shuckle shows up. Because Shuckle is, it takes one extra turn to do Shuckle, using the strategy I'm doing here. It takes one extra turn. But it outweighs the positives outweigh the negatives for this fight, because you don't have to deal with inaccuracy. Like Blizzard, if Paris shows up, I can just self-destruct. Yenma, Spinnerack. Like, I don't have to worry about too many things. But obviously, with Shuckle showing up, with Spinnerack as well being... Like, Spinnerack first doesn't change, because it's still a two-shot with Ancient Power, but at least with Ancient Power, I get the stat up possibility. And then the benefits swap. Like, Geodude is actually a worse is a worse show than Rattata. With Graveler, I want Rattata because Rattata likes to dig. And with Graveler, with Almanite, I want Geodude to show up because it's a guaranteed OHKO. But with Graveler, it's not a guaranteed OHKO for Rattata or Geodude. It's still a range for both of them. But Geodude doesn't use a useful move, and Rattata likes to use Dig. And if Rattata uses Dig against Almanite, then it wastes like 4 turns. So I'm sacrificing, at least in this first fight, it's actually unnecessary to even lead with Graveler. It's purely preference. I would say your best time save potential is going to be with Almanite, but there's so many ranges that it's not really worth it. At least in my eyes. I mean, thinking about it, that was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was a 7-turn fight. One of them was because I missed. So that was a 6-turn fight, which is actually below average. An average fight is 5 turns. Jiggle's lead is awesome too. So I'm making up a little bit of that time that I lost in the first fight. I mean, there's so many strats in this game that you can look at and say, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And you got valid reasons, but my whole reason is I want to hit Rattata when it uses Dig, and I want to explode on Paris and Yenma. Since Paris and Yenma, Paris for sure is because it's 70% accurate, and Yenma because it's a 2-hit. Plus, you've got no other move with Graveler to hit a flying Pokemon. Also, I'm using Fearow here, even though like my notes originally used Scyther. I don't use Scyther anymore because it messes up with my red composition, because my Bugsy team is also my red team. So I'm taking a small animation loss at the cost of red hardly ever using Meganium. Like, I have not seen red use Meganium with this team. And Meganium is like, let's say you're on record pace or sub 210 pace. If Meganium shows up, you can throw that out the window, and the odds of you finishing the run are... There's a chance that you may not even finish the run. Like, there's way too much bullshit that goes along with Meganium leading that I'm willing to take the time loss of a perfect fight, which is like, I think, a Caesar critting, because Caesar can crit. as well as the maybe like a Typhlosion as well, which is optimal as hell. Hello, Zippy Zero. So yeah, this is going to be very tough to bring back. So what I need in this fight is Scyther turn 1 switching. Scyther turn 1 switching, it only does that because it has nothing it can do against Dominite, so it switches into Pupitar. Okay, that's half of it, because I need some kind of good in this Bugsy gym. That is awesome. So even despite that really shit the first fight, the second fight was actually perfect because I got a fairy lead, and if I get Butterfree in the Bugsy fight, which is this fight here, then I can save even more time. It's not a guaranteed what he does. Butterfree, Beedrill, doesn't matter which one, I win. Beedrill, a fucking course. I'm getting the same damn pattern in Werster's PB. So this is like a strat I do. It doesn't really matter what you do for this particular fight. I use an Ancient Power here, and then I switch an Aerodactyl. It doesn't really matter. I do that because it's going to use Twin Needle the second turn anyways. So I figure there's a possibility of avoiding, extra unnecessary poison animations. Because even if I get poisoned here, I still KO. And, I still KO, so it doesn't really cost anything. And that possibility of Ancient Power from Almanite activating, like if it happens with the stat ups, then I can save a switch. Also, I'm not liking the split. I mean, that first fight pretty much cost me a minute. So, yeah, shit happens, but... Yeah, it kind of sucks seeing that optimal second fight, one turn from optimal third fight, but the first fight was 6 turns, and that's unacceptable. Wait, was it 6 turns? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it was 7 turns. One of them being the miss, and I still ended up being even. That was one of the fights where I could have saved a lot of time. And actually, I am very... That's a CRT that you're looking at. But, the second and third fight went superb. There's nothing I did at all wrong in those fights. The first fight is pretty much what I'm sacrificing. Like, I'm sacrificing the possibility of, like, if a Shuckle shows up, I'm losing time, more time than usual. But if it doesn't show up, I'm taking away Blizzard being used. I'm taking away Rattata using Dig and it can cost 4 turns. It's really bad. So instead, it's like an equalizer. I'm pretty sure my PB had a really good Twins fight with Hitmonlee anyway, so it's not surprising that I didn't save time, but that was the fight that I could have saved a minute on. So I'm kind of running out of early game time savers. Like, actually, there's no early game time saver until I get to Whitney. No. Jasmine and Rockets. Those Jasmine, Rockets, Price, Elite Four, Red, Janine, like all those are guaranteed time saves. The Elite Four, that's if I even get past it, because Elite Four is one of my last splits. And if I don't get past it, then the run's over. But that's what I sacrifice what I do in this route, because in my eyes, if I don't get a good Elite Four, I don't really give a shit about the run. Like, it has to be enough to get past every one of those fights. You lose way too much time to them. Like, you could like, even sub 215 potential is gone if you don't get a good Elite Four. Like, they're just that important. But starting off with a strong Elite Four is, like, not even half the run enders. Okay, no normal type Pokemon is a very odd team, but it is a team that I welcome. Because, Teddy Ursa, Meowth has Slash, Fury Strike critting with 5 is enough to KO. And funny enough, it's more likely for you to get a crit with Meowth Slash than it is for Meryl to freeze with Ice Punch. And even if Meryl freezes with Ice Punch, the run's not over. But if Meowth crits, you lose guaranteed. I don't like this quality Zen, but it's the best I got. I mean, this is how people used to speedrun, but with, like, worse looking splits as well. Like, I mean, if you ever look up, like, old ZFG speedrun videos from, like, 2007, he uses a webcam. So it's like, yeah, it's nice back then, but nowadays it's like, there's just no reason to really do it. I obviously have my reasons for doing it. Unnecessary crit. I could use a good fight here. Every fight I've ever gotten, at least in PBs, it's like I've had to switch and explode. A Mary Bleed I've never had before. It's always welcoming though, because as long as at least one Pokemon is guaranteed to be KO'd before they get a chance to attack, then you can't really lose Donphan in this fight without something exceptional happening, like a crit from any of Epalm, Remoraid, Ponyta Burning, which that's actually, I think that's just animation time loss. No, that's actually time loss, because I don't have the berry on Donphan anymore. I put that on, yeah, I put that berry on, Heracross, because, Clefable uses Fire Blast, and if it uses Burn, then you straight up lose the matchup. You don't lose the run, but you lose the potential of Heracross sweeping a decent, team. Okay, so this is a Donphan sweep. It's a lot less common than I thought it was. It used to be you would never think about it, but it's not a guaranteed sweep here. Like, you would need Sentret, Mareep, or no, Mareep and Diglett with any combination is a sweep. For the most part. Mareep, Sentret, Diglett, those are the three. Like, as long as you see one of those on the team, you have a good shot at sweeping. Okay, we're going to try this again. I want Whitney to lead Miltank. Okay. What do my notes say about that? I don't remember how much damage this does. I really don't remember. Like in this scenario, if this hits and then the next Pokemon is a Clefairy or whatever, it's not a bad thing to show up. I'm probably going to change my strat to double edge up. Yeah, I'm gonna change that strat because that cost me the run. So now if the back isn't Gloom, I lose this fight. In my testing, that strategy worked, but that was like an extremely unlikely range. So pretty much the only thing I can hope is Gloom in the back. I mean, I got my notes down to make sure that doesn't happen again. Which is two things that's happened this run that I'm making sure never happen again. So regardless of how this run goes, I'm very happy with that aspect. It's kind of pathetic to keep saying that, but that is how I view it. Like, if you can learn something new from a run that's as information as heavy as this, that's a bonus. So now I won't mess up the blue fight anymore. The Whitney fight I'm not going to mess up anymore either. I can't tell you how incredibly lucky I am to see that. Any other Pokemon, I lose. Any other Pokemon. If Clefable comes in, I have to avoid one Fire Blast and crit one, I believe. I can't even believe this run's still going. Like, I am fucking surprised this run is still going. And sadly, we're going to see a lot more time lost after that. Because my Morty split was phenomenal, because I had a Sudowoodo. Still, remember what I said earlier, it's not panicking. I'm not at panic stage yet, but I'm at, like, I really don't want to finish this garbage-ass run stage. Because I can still PB. I still got a lot of time I can PB. And for this gym in particular, it depends on how good my tie fight goes. If I get a Ghastly sweep in the tie fight, I can maybe save time. Use a safeguard. Nope. He uses light screen. I think I was light screen, or it's either light screen or reflect, one of those two. Probably light screen because it was yellow. That's probably why, in this fight in particular, Werster decided to stick with Vero. in the case that event happened, you would, yeah, I think that's why he did that. I mean, obviously, besides the fact that, you can Oko with Hyper Beam on 2 Pokemon here. And Drill Peck KO's, Bellsprout and Ladybug. Well, Ladian. I think Ladian it does. Not sure. Rarely ever see that scenario show up. The unknown is a range, though. It's a 74% chance range. Which is ass, but at this point in the run... Actually, no. Anytime I ever get to this fight, I'm going to go for that unknown range. Like, it's just not worth not going for. Like, if you can hit a Thunder, you can hit that range. Okay, Bellsprout is awesome. That's what I want to see in the back. Don't even have to think, you just Drill Peck. That fight went pretty standard. The worst thing that can happen in that fight with the current strats I use, which is Geodude over Graveler, is for Nidorino or Nidorino to show up. Because it used to be a range that was generous with Graveler, but ever since I switched to Geodude, the range still exists, but it's a much less favorable range. So you're actually better off just exploding. So it kind of sucks that that happens, but I'm sacrificing that range for a Marowak range, which is pretty much determines if this run continues or not. Well, at least back then, like, if you miss the range, you can still win, but you have to do a little bit more switching. I don't like major fights that have ranges suck. Like, you can easily do this gym with just as fast of a time with Graveler, and it's more optimal to use Graveler. So you get to pick how you want to do Morty gym. Because this is the one of the few gyms we do that have no second Switch'em. That's a range. Like, this is a gym where you can kind of pick and choose how you do your strats. Like, you obviously have the space. Awesome. This is so far a god tie fight. If the back is Ghastly, this is perfect. Because one back came in, Mr. Vis / Smoochum showed up. Optimal fucking team. Holy shit. This is an outright KO with Psychic. Awesome shit. I needed that kind of tie fight in order to make up some of this time loss. That was phenomenal. That was a 3-turn, no mean look, all baby team. Incredible. I mean, that's actually good enough to highlight, but I'm too lazy to highlight on my channel. And I don't even care about highlighting, because this isn't going to finish. No, but for real, that was a phenomenal team. 2 of those, the Zubat and the Smoochum were both ranges. They're still very favorable ranges, but ranges nonetheless. In this fight here, as long as I don't see Noctowl, and if I see Noctowl, I don't want it to leave. Well, I don't want it to switch. Marowak, okay, he's coming straight at me. If I get crit with any one of his Boomerangs run over, Boomerang is also inaccurate. I think it's like 90%. Okay, good job. We didn't get past Morty yet, but that was a major obstacle right there. Marowak, if it KOs one of the Boomerangs, regardless if you're Graveler or Geodude, you're dead. And the fight's probably over. Gengar. If Gengar crits, it's not a guaranteed kill against Donphan, but it is a crit range because it's like if a crit happens, you obviously lose the run. At least in this scenario, I lose the run because taking any damage prior to Gengar is bad. But if Gengar shows up second, a crit doesn't mean the run. It used to be that you would like switch into like you would have to, I think you would have to like switch into Gengar and hope that it's Shadow Ball, like it would use Shadow Ball and then Psychic or something, and that combination was enough to KO if it crit with one of them. In this scenario, I win this fight if he doesn't crit, and I'm actually can't believe I'm probably going to be saving time on this split. My Morty split of my PB was very strong, so taking any time in this gym is surprising. The fight's obviously not over because I still have to beat him. Still have to survive one more. Okay, now it's over. So this is... I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a gold split. Because this was a phenomenal Morty split. Like, I can't even describe how good it was. Like, absolutely stellar. Like, time save when you're not expecting it is the best feeling in the world. I was not expecting time save here, so I'm just fucking glad. Wow, that was a gold split by 30 seconds. We're skipping Chuck because I did him here's my first Johto team. This fight here, I have time save. But that's every single person, Jasmine, because she doesn't like to cooperate. Okay. I don't like this fight at all. This is, even though this fight is more consistent than it used to be, this is still a very, very awkward fight. If I get a fortress lead, then shit, it's going to get real. Oh shit. Oh my god, this is there's a strong possibility of this being a major time save. And that did good damage. I think this KOs, does it? I can't count. 64. Yeah, this will KO, I think. Holy shit, this is going to be a 6 split. Corsola? Holy shit, this is it. This is the fight. I just need this to not crit, and I need it to switch. Corsola switching is a very real possibility right here. Like after it does the Psychic, because it knows it can die, and it thinks Steelix is going to save it. So this is very, very sick. We're bringing this time save. It doesn't switch, but regardless, I win the fight. God damn. This is the optimal fight. The only way this fight could have been better is if Corsola switched into Steelix. That is the only way this fight could have been better. So I cannot OHKO here with Heracross. Even at BP of 100, 200 for reversal, you can't OHKO Steelix. So, yeah, can't do much about that. And this is the only time in this entire run you're going to see this Pokemon. on my side of the field. And the reason why is because it uses Fire Punch. There's actually a strat where you can use Flareon, and it will it'll 4-turn this fight. Because it hits every single Fire Blast against Skarmory, Steelix, Magneton / Fortress. It's very possible to happen, but it's not reliable enough. It's just not reliable enough. There is that chance that you use Flareon because if you have full health Steelix, it does take it out. Man, I'm liking this. And I got way more time saved after this. If I get the God Rocket Executive Male team, then this is like scary territory because I don't want to lose a run like this. I still gotta execute though, so we're not done or we're not out of the woods yet, I should say. I love this fucking segment of the run. It's scary, but at the same time, there's so much that goes into the Rockets. Awesome split. Awesome Jasmine, awesome Morty. Take the minute out of nowhere. Okay, he starts with this asshole, okay? Okay, he's going to use I think Explosion. I think this whole team's Explosion. So the counter, I throw in my own Graveler. I think in this scenario, the best thing that can happen is a crit. Because otherwise I'm going to blow up anyways. Okay, Pineco. That's kind of shit. I'm gonna do a strat here that I never did before. And that's going to Donphan because it is a range for... Okay, so this risk is probably going to pay off. Okay, that risk paid off because it is a range if Psychic KOs. And I just wanted to use, like, this team has somewhat of a manipulatable comp. Like, it'll use Geodude or Graveler, it'll use Weezing or Coughing, and it'll use Electrode or Pineco. And I was pretty much banking on it to be using, like, it didn't really matter what the back was. Donphan had a very high chance of KOing. My notes just weren't designed to show that if the back is Geodude or the Weezing line to bring it in. It only says to go to Kadabra, which in that scenario, it probably didn't really matter too much, probably, but, you know, just better safe than sorry. Okay, this is a range. It's actually a very generous range. It's like 83%, I believe. But if I don't hit the range, things can go south super hard here. Like, this is one of the worst fights. No. Oh, no. Oh my god, no. Oh, this is a disaster. I have to hit a Thunder on 1 HP. I have to risk this. Like, if I don't risk this, this fight is just... I lose so much time. Come on, Voltorb, pull through. Oh, damn it! can't do that. If I went to Firo, the AI would start protect spamming. So, one good thing about this strat. This is impromptu out the ass. I don't have any notes that tell me to do what I just did here. But now that he did that, if a flying Pokemon shows up next, I have a chance of only minimal time loss. Instead of major time loss, minimal. Yeah, I'm exploding on this bastard. So, I was hoping a flying Pokemon like Zubat or Murkrow showed up here. I think those are the two that show up. That's so fucked when you think about it. That I had to risk a 70% accurate Thunder to hit a 1 HP Dunsparce. I had to. I had no choice but to do that strat. And the Rain Dance was like a middle strat where it's like, well, if I get a flying Pokemon, then I can sort of have a little bit of time save. All in all, if I was using Werster's grading system, this fight would be probably a D. D for dicks. Because it went 2 turns past average. An average fight for this is 3 turns. 83% range to hit the explosion. And if it leads with Houndour, I get a free Earthquake off anyways. So, yeah. We're past that fight. You know, it's behind us. We're past this fight. Not much I can do there. I did the plays that I thought was right. If I would have gotten a flying Pokemon, that would have been a very good play. So, it's extra animations lost, 2 extra turns. Drowsy didn't die to self-destruct. I mean, so much went wrong, but so much went right. So now in this fight, as long as I don't get a Muck or Buck lead switching into Vileplume, I'll be fine. Lickitung, that's actually not that bad, because Wheezing outspeeds Lickitung in the case that it survives this. I did consider putting Geodude on my Rocket team, because it takes away the range for Dunsparce, makes it guaranteed, even though it's 80-some%. That's actually really freaking high compared to most ranges in this game. Lickitung is the reason I decided not to, because I did test it, and it is a range if Blizzard KOs Geodude. Lickitung speeds as well, so it's like, it's kind of shit that it happens. Otherwise, this would have been a way to make the rocket splits even more consistent. But really, the only fight that's anyway inconsistent is the second one. Every other fight, there's nothing you can really do different. Like, everything's manipulated in such a way that you get what you get. Like the fact that Werster and me's been getting a lot of Victory Bell leads, even Silent Wolf. It's garbage, but if you get a non-Victory Bell lead, you save like a minute or 2, like, automatically. Nice. That's what I was wanting to see in the back. From my experience, I don't really see Muck in the back if it doesn't lead. Because if it leads Muck, then and it has Vileplume, it'll almost always switch into Vileplume because Graveler's your lead. There's like, I mean, I could seriously write a book on like the AI and how they, like what they do in certain situations. It's really cool, but at the same time, that information doesn't really matter because most of the time you're just following notes. You don't need to know why someone does something, but from a routing perspective, knowing is a very big deal. I just want if I get a Persian lead, then this is like really, really cool. Persian lead, Golbat lead, Mischievous lead, just some lead that is not Victory Bell. Like I'm sick of this fight. Like I need a good positive push right now. Oh my fucking god, my prayers have been answered. We are in there hard. I'm coming up to the price with new strats as well, so this is... I mean, this is still far from over, but this is hot shit right now. Wobbuffet, no! Wait, I still KO with... I still KO, yeah, that's right. A Wobbuffet second? Are you shitting me? I've never seen this. I have never seen this. I've heard that Wobbuffet can show up as the back Pokemon with even with the Victory Bell lead. I've heard of this, but to see it in action, that's like that is so crazy. He threw in a punching bag instead of Houndoom with Solar Beam. I mean, it doesn't matter too much because I still OHKO Houndoom here because it's going to use Solar Beam, and I have who's my back? Weezing. I have Weezing in the back in the case something bad happens. But this is I'm making up a lot of time, even though I had that shit second fight. This is probably enough to make up a little bit, because otherwise I was going to be losing so much time. Ideally, what will happen is turn 1, you get the Ghost. Yeah, turn 1's a Ghost. It switches into Golbat or something you OHKO with the Explosion. Throw in Donphan. Donphan OHKO's Houndoom. And then Mischievous uses Curse against itself. And then you just win. Or it's a Pain Split. It uses one of those two moves. Oh, dude. Donphan went ham on this fight. That is more like it. That is more fucking like it. I've never seen that team, and I hope I never do again. Actually, no, fuck that. I would love to see that team again without Wobbuffet. Okay, well, more strides. We still got a lot more of the run to go, and if you've watched Werster before me, then this is the first time I've ever gotten a price with the new strats. I think I still do the first plate differently than him. So it's like the price plate himself, it should be the same. I'm really curious how this time save is going to look against price, because I think my own price didn't go too bad. I think I had a Jinx lead, switch in, explode. Destiny Bond was pretty good against Piloswine, and finished with Starmie. I mean, that's a really terrible combination. But you know, at the end of the day, I still won the fight in my PB. But I think Werster put it perfectly. His first time showing off the strats, he had a faster price than the 3-turn Brock strategy we implemented. He had a faster price than Brock. That's ridiculous. That is not only fast, that is consistently fast. Like, that is crazy fast. Fluffy. What the hell move was that? I have no idea what move it just used, because I can't read, but I think it was like growl, maybe. Or kinesis or something like that. I could probably look it up, but it like doesn't matter, because the whole strategy for this fight is to explode twice and finish with Kadabra in the back. So it doesn't really matter what happened. But I still don't know. Okay, Swine Up in the back, very common. It likes to use Endure. You can tell it uses Endure because Swine Up is a slow piece of shit and should not be outspeeding Kadabra. And I can't use Thunder Punch because it's part ground type. So I have to use another Psychic for 1 HP worth of damage. It didn't go for a second one, so that's good. Shoulder in the back, no Endure is ideal. Actually, this whole fight was pretty far from ideal, but it was still a 4-turn fight. 4-turn you can consider average because you KO the first 2 with Explosion, and the last one you can assume at least 1 Endure. So not a bad team, but not a good team. Went way better than my mock matches. I think I had Smoochum use Powder Snow with Kadabra in the back, and it actually froze. It was pretty tragic. I still won the fight though, but that was like a really shit thing. But I can't put the Burn Berry on Kadabra. It has to go on Heracross for the price fight, because that is a major fight. I need the time save there. Cubone lead. That is interesting. That's a good lead, because you can't OHKO with Self-Destruct on Voltorb. You can't use Thunder to KO. I can now probably get a guaranteed second kill as long as I hit a Thunder. Most likely, it's probably going to be... Actually, it doesn't matter who the second Pokemon is. I still need to hit the Thunder. Seadra would be ideal, I think, because in the case that I miss Seadra, I can just use Mirror Coat. Okay, Delibird is not what I want to see, but I got one shot before it outspeeds me. And if it hits, then the next Pokemon is a guaranteed kill, most of the time with Self-Destruct. Well, not guaranteed, but it KOs a lot. Awesome shit. This is a pretty based price gem so far. Oh, wow. If this price fight goes how I think it's going to go, this is serious business. Like, until I get past the Elite Four, I can't really say anything about the pace. But to give an idea, I do know the record at the bottom is not the record. Werster set a new PB today, /record. It's actually 209.09. So compared to PB, it looks like I'm still behind, but we got a lot of run left. We got the major fights coming up. And this price one, I'm going to say what's going to happen. And I want to see if it comes true. He's going to lead Dawn Fan. It's going to use Double Edge. I'm going to KO it. It's going to throw in Ursaring next. I'm going to use Endure, and then KO the next turn. Piloswine's going to come in turn 4. It's going to die to a reversal. We'll see if that shows. Okay, that's the first. Well, that's. Okay, I was wrong. Bite me. Okay, oh shit, HP, 28. That's 28, that's 100 BP. What? It survived? My notes tell me that 80 Oko's that. 80 base power Oko's that. That was 100 base power. How did it survive that? That was at 28 HP. That's 100 base power. How? I'm actually legitimately confused. There's no way I should have lived that. I'm very confused about what just happened there. I'm gonna have to run these numbers after this run. There's no way what just happened. Okay, I gotta beat Quick Claw here to win. Okay, run is still continuing. This run probably would have been over if that Quick Claw happened. It would have, because Voltorb is my back Pokemon. So I win. Okay, so I'm probably going to need at least one Thunder. That had 3-turn possibility with that Jinx lead. Safeguard. Okay, good. Crit KOs. Now with Thunder KOs, but I've never had this situation, so I don't know, do I use Thunder? Or do I use Miracle? Thunder or Miracle? Thunder. Fuck it. It's probably a shit decision here because Miracle probably Okos, but I don't know how the AI works with Voltorb. I've never had it. And the decision pays off in the fucking end. That would have been a massive split. I need to run numbers. I can't believe that didn't Oko Jinx. Like that. I'm very confused right now. I did the numbers, I did the crunching, and I said 80 base power reversal. O-code. Like guaranteed O-code. So for that to not O-code, I don't know what's... Like, there's no way my math was wrong. Like, I plugged the numbers in. Reversal does base... The attacking strength of reversal does no variance. So it always does 1. Which is the max... You know, the variance of 1 does the max damage. So... I don't know how my data didn't conclude that it was going to O-code, but... I'm going to check that out after this run. That is retarded. That's probably why Hitmonchan is used. Because there is that possibility. I mean, that was a bad range, by the way. The minimum HP I'm left with is 29 from a Psychic. from a psychic. So, okay, you know, fuck it. What's done is done. I saved 40 seconds on my price split using the new strats, and that was a bad fight. Like, I could have saved a lot more. Worry about it later. Right now, I got to focus on the rest of this run. I got a lot of time saved to do, a lot of focusing to do. So, shit happens. Keep going forward. Yada, yada. I am very happy with my splits right now. Like, I'm not happy with the earlier run fights, but I'm very happy that right now I am within 30 seconds of my PB. That's a very good sign. It's not perfect, but right now, how this run went, the bullshit that happened, especially the rain dance strat against Dunsparce, like, if you're strictly a speedrunner and you say, like, well, you got to go as fast as possible, if that logic doesn't apply in this game, because to go as fast as possible, you would lead Diglett in every fight and Fissure. You got to go fast. That logic doesn't work in Stadium. You got to do what's smart, consistently fast. It's not bad to take risks, but for the most part, if you there's a reason why some strats are done and why some aren't, and that's really all I have to say on that topic. I got to keep going forward. There's so many good things that happen this run. There's so many bad things, but only one of those bad things was me being a retard. Everything else was situational. Okay, that is not nice to see. Not nice to see at all. Hey, I'm telling the truth then, Ivan. That one mistake that was on me cost me 1 minute 10 seconds. And I should have never made that decision. So yes, I went there. Okay, so this trainer has pairs. It uses one of each of the elemental starters. It just used a water, which means if I'm lucky, the next is a fire. Of course not. I wanted a fire because if a fire came in, self-destruct is 93% to KO. But now that Bulbasaur came in, well, for one, I don't have the range on it because Bulbasaur is something you KO 100% of the time with Psychic. So now, yeah, that's all I really have to say. If the order was switched where Charmander or Cyndaquil came in, this strat would have worked out well. But because it didn't happen, this is like an average fight now because it's 4 turns. An average fight for this trainer is 4 turns, by the way. Well, 5 turns, I should say, because if the back is a grass type that you don't OHKO or a water type you don't OHKO, it's 2 turns. And usually you have Fearow in the back for safety, but I don't have, like, I decided to use a different strategy, which it does, like, if I get crit in the back, depending on who does it, it's a run over. But the potential of bringing in Voltorb and being able to OHKO 5 out of the 6 Pokemon she can throw out is way too good to pass up. Like, it's too good of an opportunity. If Cyndaquil was second, Bulbasaur was last, that fight would have had no risk. But because they swapped, there was risk in the final one. Okay, so this next fight is trash. Werster has like 1 million highlights from this fight. You probably know her. You know, Claire. So as long as I don't get cleared, I'll be happy. Ideally, what'll happen is Rhydon comes in turn 1, Earthquakes. Okay, of course not. So now I got a Mirror Coat. I do have to do this anyways for this fight. Oh shit, is that it? Yes! Turn 1 Hydro Pump. Fuck you. Huge! That is huge! Huge fucking turn 1. Holy shit. So now Rhydon? 2? 2? Okay. It's not guaranteed. I still have to survive. What do my notes tell me to go? I'm trying to think about what to do in this situation. Who's the back? Who's the back? I'm trying to think about what I want to do. I have the Mirror Coat here. I mean, not Mirror Coat, but Destiny Bond. Lapras. No, that's actually good. Motor above the Thunder Up. Is that Outrage? That's Outrage. I survive a crit against Outrage. Holy shit. Holy shit, this split. Okay, 69, 120. No, it's not a guarantee. I survive. 58, 116 to 138 is a crit here. Huge split. This is a monster split. Like, we turned this run around hard. And who cares if it survives here? I got self-destruct. Fight is over. Seven fights. We're 7 fights away from finishing this run. But I have to go through the 6 hardest fights in the game, plus Janine, because Janine is a lot more consistent with the strats I use now. So I put her last. It's kind of anticlimactic to go from Lance to Janine, but yeah. That was a pretty good gem. That was a gold split, damn. Alright, wish me luck. Got the big boys to deal with now. And Dragonite, if I get to him. Okay. Cadaver lead, that's I don't think that's a bad lead. I know Werster said that leads to the optimal team. No crit, good. Okay. Okay. I think he says that because usually it comes into Zatu's second, which has less risk since you could yeah, since you could it has less risk is all I know. Because usually that means I don't think any Girafford. Unless it's turn 2. Okay. So I have to hit a 90% thunder. I mean a hyper beam. We're fine. That burn doesn't mean anything. As long as I get off this explosion, that means less. It just doesn't mean anything. Because this is still the same move I would make. Because I don't like using Thunder against Clefable. I know, like, the implications of it is it's actually worth it. If you miss it, you lose a small bit of animations. I'm probably gonna do that again. Like next time I ever get to here. If a Thunder KOs, then you would lead whoever's in the back with a self-destruct. Because I KO there with drop back anyway, so it's like absolutely. There's like no reason not to go for it if it's in range. I think that's the way the strat's meant to be. But I've never hit in that range, so I kind of took them out of my notes. But I need to add those right back in one day. Okay. That's nothing. That just means if I don't hit this, I'm fucked. Because I am done. I'm done with the run tonight. This doesn't hit. Okay, that's one down. 4 more to go. I think I'm gonna adopt the Thunder against Clefable strat. There's too much upside to it, and there's no downside. Like you KO Clefable if you miss it anyways, and then you're back to what I just did. I'm gonna have to put that back in my notes with the range. Okay, just need to hit the explosion. Yep, not hard, just a 75% accurate explosion, or else the run's pretty much over. Gotta love the Elite Four and their high IQ strategies. Okay, that's a good lead because if it hits, it KOs. It's more likely to get this than the Muck one. Muck one's not even, it's like a 52%. Come on, hit this one, please. Fuck yeah! And there's a KO? Yes! In there! Okay, so Ariados in the back with Venomoth coming here. Venomoth's range with Focus Band. Ariados in the back would be really hot. Or Ariados second. Oh. Well, excuse me. Okay. Still too much to go. I mean, there's still way too much left in this run to be comfortable. But that was huge. That was a huge clutch moment from Pineco. Like, that's Hall of Fame worthy performance right there from Pineco. And do I get the range? Perfect! That is the perfect Koga. Explosion, turn 1 to KO, Ariados second, range, Venomoth. That is phenomenal. That is an unbeatable split. I would never get a Koga that good again. Okay, this next fight is bullshit because I have so many notes for Bruno. Like, I have like 3 times as many notes for Bruno than my next biggest, well, aside from Red. Heracross lead is ideal, I believe. Less bullshit can happen if that happens. Kangaskhan. I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. I think in order to win this combination, I need to survive a scope lens from Earthquake. Yeah, I'm not liking this combination at all. My PB had this, I believe. No, my PB had it, I think. No! Oh my god, no. Oh, my ass hurts so bad. Ban the crits. Oh, that was so heart pounding. Oh my god. I thought that was it. That was the end. Okay, shit. So, I don't know what to do in the case that explosion KOs. It never KOs. So, if it switches to Blastoise, I'm a champ. Okay, which is still... I have to survive this scope lens or this run's over. Come on. Come on, clutch this Alcadabra. Okay. This run's over. Fuck. Damn it, fucking piece of... If the back is not Onyx, I lose. The back has to be Onyx or I lose. Fucking scope lens. Oh my god. If it's anything else, I need way too much. Okay. I've never had this 1v1 before. I don't know if this KOs. I've never looked it up because it just never shows up. Oh my god. This is... I'm about to have a heart attack. I mean, my notes tell me that, like, Onyx is usually in the back in that situation. But you can't guarantee that shit happens. Okay, the run is on the line one more time. Quick Claw. If I get Quick Clawed, run's almost over. But if I survive this Quick Claw, then we're looking in potentially 208 tier, 207, 206. I mean, there's too much to go from here. So I gotta take it one at a time. I am losing my mind. Like, I can't believe that shit happened. Okay, turn 1 Quick Claw. That's always a good sign. But that doesn't matter because the first turn's a waste. Okay, nice. This is like an adjusted strat that I do. It's not really worth it in an optimal fight, but in the case that I get Quick Clawed, I'm giving myself a winning chance, I should say, at the cost of two animations. I'm giving myself a chance. Okay, come on. You can do this, Haunter. All you have to do is survive 1 Quick Claw. This is the last one I'm asking for you, bud. Last one. Fuck you! This is why I do this. Fuck. Fuck. Okay, I need a few crits here, and I need I need too much. I need way too much now. Like that's just bullshit. But this is why I do the toxic strat, because if this ever happens, I can't get the ideal fight anymore. The ideal fight was Quick Claw, you throw in Kadabra, Oko Gengar, and you Oko Victory Bell. That is the ideal strat. But because of this bullshit, then... Quick Claw again. It doesn't matter because this turn it's done. Toxic does its course right here. I was going to switch. I was going to switch, but I had no clue what this Pokemon's back moves were, so I did the only play I did that I knew I could do, which was just take it. Fuck. Okay, Gengar, just kill me. Kill me. It's pathetic that I haven't lost time on this split yet. Like, I haven't even started. That shows you how strong the Destiny Bond strats are. They're so good. Hunter's going to use Confuse Ray because it's a bitch. This is a 100%. It's a guaranteed it's going to use it. Kadabra has the Bitter Berry for this exact scenario. And if the back is Victory Bell, I have nothing to worry about. If the back is anything else, then there's still a chance of something bad happening, but... Oh, that is such a blow to the balls. To get Quick Clawed at the worst possible thing to happen. Worst thing to happen. Come on, Victory Bell. Yes, that's guaranteed. So I'm still going to be time ahead. So now Lance has to cooperate. And I have not had a good Lance since my PB. We still got something, guys. Like, we still have something, but it's not... It's... We went from world record potential to we'll be lucky if we even cut the 210. Like, I would need a perfect Lance. I would need a perfect Janine, which is still time save, and I would need a perfect Red. These next 3 fights have to go flawless. God damn it. That was it, too. Look at that split. 2 minutes ahead, and I was going to save it like another minute or two on Karen. Like, that was easy time save. That was the optimal pattern. But, fuck it. We just got past that fight. Keep going. We're still on PB pace. Fuck what just happened. We have to continue forward. Okay, give me some Tyranitar. That's what I'm talking about. That's such a common lead, but it's nice to see. And then I want Dragonite to cooperate, and then I want the back to cooperate. Like, I want everything flawless in this fight. I need it bad. Like, I am running out of bullshit. I can take it. Like, If it leads off with Hyper Beam, I'm most likely going to KO the back easily. But it has to happen right now. Like, I need you to throw me a Bone Dragon Knight. I can't do this without you. Hyper Beam. Oh shit. Hit. Hit. And no focus band. Come on. Okay. Still not through. Got one more. Steelix. What does Steelix do? I outspeed Steelix in this scenario. That is so funny. That's not the ideal back, though. I was hoping to have... That have KO'd? No, that did, That did 70, 80... Did it? Whatever. I don't know. I've never had Steelix in the back, so... Okay. So the run is up to red, and some time save from Fusia. Minute 58. Guys, believe it or not, this still has world record potential. I don't know how, but it still has it. But I'm entering a fight that's very free, and then the next fight is the worst fight in existence. But I'm hoping my manipulation has worked with that team. Yeah, this is going to be very hard to bring back. Very difficult, but it's possible. Like, as long as I get a good Janine team, then no quick claw, no focus band bullshit. Even a focus band, okay, even a focus band bullshit's not bad. But I have to do, like, this is like so anticlimactic. You have that sick, well, it's not a sick fight because it was one turn over optimal, but for all intents and purposes, you have that sick, high octane, Lance fight, and then you have to do the final Kanto leader that happens to be the easiest Kanto leader with the new strats. Oh, this is heart pounding. I got, man, I'm getting lightheaded, but I've never had to run this much of a roller coaster. So much good, so much bad. But the run is not over. I still have to deal with one more scope lens and a Jolteon. I still got those two Pokemon to deal with. And I got scope lens against Machamp from Bruno, so if that's any indication of how, and I got quick clawed by Carrie, so I'm not looking at this next fight with good optimism. I'm just going in and hoping I get something out of nothing. I gotta calm down. It's just a video game. Okay, show me Tentacruel. Stantler's not bad either, because that's a good one too. Stantler is a 2-hit KO range with Kadabra Psychic. Doing this strat here takes away that range completely. Its HP is 52. I'm not risking a Thunder Punch here. And with the back is Area Dose, and I don't get Quick Clawed. This is hot shit. I still got a lot to go though. Like this, I still got to deal with the last fight, and I'm hoping my manip works. It's worked super consistently in practice, so I have to get this. I have to get this next turn. I cannot waste one more turn in this fight. Like, I cannot waste one more turn in Janine. I have to end this fight now. Like, the time window for when this run needs to be over is closing bad. That is not what I want to see. It's not a good range, and it has the focus band. So, getting both of them is not going to happen. Probably. 1. Yes! Yes, yes, yes! Okay. Okay. It's all up to red. If I take down Tauros in this fight, then I pretty much win. Right now, this is definitely on pace. Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. Come on. One more fucker to go. Okay. We're going to leave Jolteon. Jolteon's going to Thunder. I KO. Tauros comes in next. I KO. For Alligator's in the back. Okay, that's 1. I need you to miss or not crit. For the love of fucking God, don't crit. 1 down. 2 to go. Okay, this is... I need 1 more miracle from you, Wobbuffet. I'm asking way too much from Wobbuffet here, but I need 1 more miracle. Come on, Tauros. Okay, that's 2. Now I need no crit. No crit. Come on. Come on. Oh shit. Oh shit. Okay. Caesar in the back. Give me a Caesar, please. Oh my fucking God, I can't believe this is happening. Werster just set the world record like 5 hours ago. Come on. Oh, that's not the end of the world, but I do not want to see that. Because I have to hope he hits a blizzard. I'm hoping this crits. Okay, doesn't crit. And now he has to hit some blizzards. I got 4 more. 4 more, come on. Don't do this to me, game. Don't leave it up to Alligator, please. Come on, crit. Crit. Oh my God, 1 more. 1 more. This is getting a little too close for comfort. He's going to use Blizzard here because he's a fuck. 70% chance I get the record, probably. Come on, hit, hit, hit. Fuck, yes. Oh my God, I can't believe it. 2 records in 1 fucking day for Pokemon Stadium 2. I just reclaimed the record. 5 hours lost. Holy... Holy fucking shit. That was the wildest run I've ever seen. I just watched Werster get the record too, like, God fucking damn it. God fucking damn it. This is why I speedrun this game. This is so wild. That was such a wild one. Holy shit. Holy shit, that was so wild.